Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost.
What's going on, everybody? I'm sorry, we're a couple minutes late today, but guys, thank you for being here with us today. We have one of our good friends with us today. This guy is not only a brother in arms. I'm a military guy, and he was in the Marine Corps. You know that I was in the Marine Corps too. But at the same time, he is a financial coach, a mentor, a person that can help you, can help a lot of people. And he has given us some good advice in the past. And I want to make sure that you guys also listen to what he had to say today, because the man, even though he doesn't look that smart, that man's smart, I tell you that. He could teach us some literacy when it comes down to real estate, financial literacy, especially when we're about to start a recession. So this is something that you must watch, especially we're about to finish the year, man. And I want to make sure that you guys finish the year with the right information, the right thing to do, a plan in action. But I want to introduce our man, Nick Mershon. How you doing today, brother?
Doing great, man. Thank you. Thanks for having me on. And Navy guy, everybody. No offense to all my crayon eaters out there, but we love all of you. On submarines for 9 years. I'm also the father of 8 wonderful children. So whether it's the military, business, or just the home life, hopefully you get some nuggets today that help you in all 3 of those areas.
I tell you what, I guarantee you're gonna get some nuggets. And by the way, I was in the Marine Corps, so we always mess with him that the Marine Corps is the male department of the Navy. But we could talk about that another time. But you know what? We also got here with us Brock Bertolo, man. That nothing could happen in this company without his help. This man is, he knows about sales. He knows about, I'm amazed by what he's been doing this year, helping us out with a lot of the market. But Brock, how are you today, man? How are you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing so good. Drink a little whiskey, business funding and whiskey, man. And honestly, just glad to be here, and glad to have a drink. So, guys, for those of you who are just joining us for the first time, never seen us before, this is business funding and whiskey, where we're going to take an unconventional approach to everything business funding, and really that entrepreneur lifestyle. And so with not much more ado, Nick, man, I want to get right into this with you. So let's start off with financial literacy, because I think that's so big nowadays. Carlos and I were going through some stats right before we started here, and it was 4% of all Americans are financially literate. Right. So that's mind-boggling. So, let's spread some awareness. What is financial literacy?
Yeah. So I think it's taught all wrong. And it starts with the home life, where parents don't talk to their kids about school at all, or they don't talk to their kids about money at all. Right. It's, hey, don't worry about that. That's an adult thing, where that 4% of society, they're having the conversations with their children about finances from 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, right? Yeah. We also look at money as hey, how much can I make hourly, not how much can I go sell, right? So when people talk about jobs all the time, it's very much the employee mindset of, I'm going to go work for somebody else, and hey, man, I want to get up to $25 an hour this year. Right. And that trading time for money is very much that employee quadrant of the world that the majority of people live in. I'm not saying it's a terrible thing, right? But if you want to get out of this paycheck to paycheck society that the majority of the world lives in, you have to think outside of that normal W-2 job that you have.
That is completely true. You know what? Something that stuck with me when I read a book that actually changed my life. I think a lot of you have heard of this one. Is Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? So one thing is that when he says about an event in which he was in a golf outing, and he was talking about people that you could see who has that mentality as an employee, a mentality as a poor man, and a mentality of getting now and actually become an entrepreneur. And you talk about how much can you make, and the conversation was something along the lines, how much do you make an hour, opposed to how much is your time worth? So, and again, that the switch on when we have to start thinking everything that we do is something that today we have to learn, because I understand. Look, and I come from a Hispanic culture in which this is not taught. A lot of even credit for me when I was growing up, it was taboo. It's
Of
like
course.
you need to save your money, put it under the mattress. Credit will mess up your credit, and it was the total opposite. I mean, as I learn and as we move up in everything that we do, people that we meet, we learn new things in finances that kind of shock the way I was taught. So let me ask you something. What do you think is going on right now specifically? Do you think that America is waking up to the situation in which we find ourselves, or we are still going under? No matter what, there's going to be a recession because that's the way that the system actually levels itself. What do you think is really going on? Is it something that we are learning with the new generation we have, or is it something that people still oppressed by financial literacy?
Sure. So I think it's twofold there, right?
Yeah.
I think 2020 accelerated the collective awakening of how else can I make money,
Hmm.
right? So the affiliate marketing game, the hey, I'm going to get into sales, yeah, that the multiple other streams of income from behind a laptop
Mhm.
were something everybody and their mother was like, oh wait, my job's gone. What else can I do? Right. So I think there's a portion there, but on the recession side of things, I think a bunch of that is between the ears. Right. So if you wake up and you're like, hey, I'm not going to make a bunch of money this month because we're in a recession. Okay, cool. Right. But the 2020 made the most, or 2021, 2022, we've made the most billionaires here post COVID recession than we've ever made in history. Right. Private jet sales are at an
Go
all-time
back
high.
to that. Go
Sure.
back to that. You said between the ears. Explain that
Oh
to
yeah.
people.
Absolutely. So if you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh man, I have to go to this job and I'm going to put in my 8 hours, and let's say you're making $10 an hour just for easy math, right? So you're going to go make $80 today, right? And you're going to spend 8 hours of your time working for somebody else, and you're going to make $80. You could close your eyes, type in affiliate marketing onto Google, and you can find something that you can sell, go push in half of that time, or I guarantee you're going to make $80. And this is not saying everybody go immediately get rid of your W-2 job, right? You have to keep the lights on, you have to pay bills. But the sales side of things is not something we're taught. We're taught from a very young age that sales is an icky thing, right? And we tell like with an army of kids that I have, I tell all of them no a bunch, right? My kid that asks for the most, that all of my kids rag on, she's like, oh, she's your favorite. She's not my favorite. I'd probably tell her no more than I tell any of the rest of them no. But she asks for more things, right? So because she asked for more, she's obviously going to get more. So if you're not waking up thinking I can make $1,000 a day, I can make $3,000 a day, I can make $10,000 a day, $10,000 a day is a bad day for a lot of people. All right. So I'm not buying into the, hey, we're going down. This is the thing that's going to be awful. I'm going to have the best 2023 I've ever had, and the best dollar for dollar year I've ever had in 2023. I had a great 2022. 2023 is new levels, regardless of what the economy is doing.
Let's go. I love
so Nick, I got a question for you. When it comes to financial literacy, what's one thing that you feel like everybody should know?
Proper use of credit and debt. Because there's terrible consumer debt, right? Where you've got credit cards that you've got to pay off at a 13 or 15% clip that are just eating at you, right? But there's also real estate. The reason I love real estate is because I can go give you $10,000. I can secure a $200,000 property, and I own that, right? Now I put a renter in it, and it pays me for forever. But we've looked at one of the best books I've ever read was Invest with Debt. Or Invest in Debt, and it taught me, hey, here are the 2 or 3 different ways that you can make money without doing anything, or like really just trading paper, right? So properly leveraging debt, properly leveraging credit cards, whether that's the cash back or the rewards or any of the rest of it. You guys are in the business funding side of things. I'm sure there's a whole chunk there where, hey, if we optimize these correctly, now I can go fly for free for the next 2 years.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right. So the debt side, Brock, is number one for me.
Love it.
So we see, you know what you're talking about. Coming from the military and being a real estate agent, how do you get to where you are right now? Like, what do you have to do? Is a lot of people look at people that are in the industry, people
Yeah.
that are well spoken when it comes down to financial literacy, and they want to learn how to start. I mean, obviously, we all hear, okay, go to Google, go to and find someone to actually learn from. But really,
Sure.
how do you get from where you were? Because honestly, I mean, I've been in the military, and I was in the military for 22 years, and
Right.
half of my brothers and sisters were knuckleheads.
Of course.
Let's put it that way. So how do we, and again, and I'll talk about this, but I want people to hear from you too. How do you got from where you are to how you speak today about finances, the smart way to invest your money and time?
Yeah,
How do you do that?
Right. So it's like non-conventional. I love how you said, hey, the unconventional way to business funding, and also we're drinking alcohol, right? But the unconventional, like
Salud.
unconventional, yeah, right. Cheers, everybody. Unconventional is my whole life, right? So finding that person that is 2 or 3 chapters ahead of where you're at is where you need to be. I don't need to reach up to somebody on chapter 60 if I'm on chapter 3. If I can get in front of those people, please do. Right. But you're not going to have one thing happen and be like, oh, this is it, everybody. I've made it. We're good. Right.
Yeah.
So the people say invest in yourself all the time. I don't think people understand what that means at all.
Yeah.
Right. I think people are like, oh yeah, cool, invest in myself. Haha. Right. I've got $500 laying around. What do? Go buy a book. Go buy a book. Right. I don't need every single page of the book. Right. I need 2 or 3 lines. I need 1 paragraph where I go take the next action, and then go back to the book.
Yeah.
Go back to the book, right? But reach out to those people that have been out for 3 years or 5 years.
Yeah.
How did they get to where they're at?
Yeah, and
Right?
sometimes it's not even about money. Sometimes it's about time. Sometimes
Correct.
it's about dedication and make sure that you actually put the time, because becoming successful is not easy, guys. It's not something we're not selling you a fairy tale over here. You need to apply yourself. You need to learn. And I tell you what, you will fail more than what you win. But those failures will teach you a tremendous lesson, because you will apply that the next time. And there's no other lesson but Brock could tell you how many times this company is going successful every single day. But the more that's going successful, we have failed many more times. Right, Brock?
100%, right? This is how we learn. We learn from our
How we
mistakes.
learn.
So, you said something important there, Carlos, the failures that kind of take us to our next path or next destination, really. And so Nick, that kind of ties into my next question here. I'm sure that from the path from employee to entrepreneur, being in the military to doing real estate to coaching people. I mean, what's one of your biggest mistakes that you remember making?
Oof. Biggest mistakes.
Yeah.
So so biggest mistake was my last year of brick and mortar college, right? I played baseball for 3 years, slid head first in a second, tore up my left labrum, knew I was done like that next day, right? My GPA was less than my batting average at that point. I will post the transcripts on LinkedIn here once I find them, or once I go back home. But I think my GPA my last year in brick and mortar college was like a 0.168, right? So leaving college, right? Not moving back home, not having a clue what I was going to do, right? It was side jobs. It was like when people ask me, hey Nick, what was your biggest setback? So done playing baseball, moved back home. Like I went and applied at Fridays and Chili's. Those were the 2 places I went and applied, right? Wow. Got the job at Fridays, met my wife that I've been married to for 14 years, and we have 8 wonderful children, right? So
wait, hold on, back up. How many?
8.
This man has to be successful to keep 8 kids. You definitely, you know what? He has no other choice than being successful, guys.
Absolutely.
Good motivation.
Right? Exactly. And that's where, if I don't stop playing baseball, none of that ever happens. Right. So I would never change anything in my path. Right. But if you would have told me as I got out of the Navy, that I'm going to be in this regimented environment where my day is planned out for me and I am hopping from call to call, just super regimented, I would have laughed in your face.
Yeah.
Right. So Carlos, I'm sure you can attest to that where,
I
hey,
can relate to every
we're
single.
getting out. And Carlos, how much did you learn from, we talked earlier a little bit more about the setbacks and learning from those, but I learned way more in the Navy from my terrible leaders than I did my great ones.
Oh, man. You know what? Being in the military, I tell you what, that's something that I speak about. Like I was and I believe I was a great leader. You know, everybody thinks he's a great leader.
Of course,
But you know what? I left a great legacy behind. So and that's why I know that when people are great leaders, when people talk about them and miss them because of what they brought to the organization or left the organization so much better. And in any company, you got to do the same. It doesn't have to be in the military. But I attest, one of my biggest wins in leadership is I learned the most from the people that were the worst leaders. I said I will never be like them, and that's a great lesson for me to actually to move forward. And that's something that I will teach without names. But I teach that this is not the way you lead people, because when you lead people, you want to make sure that all these people's success is easy.
Correct.
And I think
Correct.
one of our mentors actually talks about that. What is leadership is making other success easy. So
Absolutely.
you know, and again, so I attest that to that as well. And you know what? So you know what? Let me bring the same question to Brock. Brock, tell me, one of the things that you actually you wanted to do different in your life.
God,
Like,
I mean, there's a ton of things. What comes to mind, like definitely my 20s, right? So I could have I could have spent my time much better. Meaning, if I had just found a mentor, if I had found somebody who was going places that I wanted to go to, I mean, I could have fast tracked my entire life, right?
Yeah.
But distractions happen, right? Things happen, friends happen, girls happen,
Girls happen.
or you know, it just. And I found my 20s. I look back at it. I'm like, oh God, what did I accomplish? And I learned a lot, right? Same thing from you, Nick, that you said, and you, Carlos, you said I wouldn't change anything. And I did learn a lot, but I really would like to know what would happen if I really would have applied myself and spent less time doing things that I liked and more times doing things that needed to be done. You know what I mean?
All right, yeah.
But
you know
hey,
what?
if I would have changed something, who knows what would have happened? I might never have met my wife.
Yeah. And you know what? And that's the thing. We in this path today, and I believe even with this company and everything that happened, because it happened because of COVID. But you know what? Something that I want to, and I think I never spoke about this, but I'm going to speak about it because Johnny Walker over here or Jack Daniels talking to me. He said, "Speak."
Uh-oh.
No, but you know what? Actually, one of the things that I would wish it was completely different is the way that I went about my life, my personal life. But failing in my personal life taught me a big lesson on how to become a better leader, a better father, a better partner. And because of that, it pushed me to the edge to learn about myself, to find my flaws, and push me to find those people that were going to help me and find those people that were going to follow me to help me get to the next level. So sometimes it's not about the things that happen to us, it's the things that we evaluate that happen to us. And if you evaluate them, they become the lessons that actually make you different and make you become who you are. And you know what? And even though that sometimes I wish things would be different, like my divorce, I wish like things would have been different with me as a man. At the same time, I think to that thing to happen because it taught me a lot of me about, as Carlos, as a man, as a father. And today I strive to be the best. I constantly assess myself. I constantly look for other people to help me to develop. And I understood that I have blind spots. Just like when we drive, there's a blind spot. I know I have blind spots every single day. And every day I put my pride to the side and I ask for help. And because of that, I develop myself every single day. And I strive to be as, look for my hero, which my hero is me a year from now.
There it is. There it is. Love it. Love it. I think that's one of the most undervalued things somebody can do is just get around people that want to see you succeed. Right? At some point, your mother, brother, aunt, uncle, grandparent, somebody who was raising you said, hey, be careful who you're around. Right? That doesn't change just because we're older. We just think we're smarter.
Yeah,
right. So if your people aren't pushing you to whatever that next level is, like find some new people, especially in this day of social media where I can hop on anything, whatever. I can hop on Instagram, I can hop on LinkedIn, I can find somebody anywhere.
Yeah.
Right. And I can either mimic them or join something to where, hey, let's all get better together. Right. So if there's so the debt side is one thing, right? Hey, go learn about debt. But if you're not around some great people, find some great people here in the next 3 days before we're rolling into 23.
Yeah, that's awesome.
No, absolutely. It's who you surround yourself with. And, and I hope that there's some people listening out there tonight who are like, thinking about opening up their own business. And I hope that something that we're telling you is like pushing you. There's so many resources. There's so many people out there that are willing to help you be successful in your future ventures. The only person that's stopping you is you. So just do it. Go.
100%.
You get yourself in the middle. So this just happened today. So I was talking to one of our clients, and we're helping him out with a merchant account. And he is 66 years old, and he was stopping himself from. And the funny thing is, a lot of people do. They hear about real estate, they hear about the war stories about real estate, about the clock toilets, the changing the light bulbs in the middle. And I said, look, we all went through that. You need to do it. It's a process, but the process could be smarter. You could find those people that already done it and learn from them. You could shorten the whole path and be able to. And he's telling me, yes, I have my friend is being a real estate investor, and I had a lunch with him last week. I'm like, I'm not gonna say his name, but I said, man, you are giving yourself the same answer that you're looking from me. That's the person that you should go to and say, look, I'll become your apprentice. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter what age you are. You could be older than that person that you see is doing better than you, because unfortunately, a lot of people find success at different time of the, in life. And some of them could be somebody younger. And that's one thing that you got to put to the side, your pride. Put your pride to the side, because you never know who you could learn. You could learn from top, across, or from the bottom. That makes you a better leader, a better woman, and better man. Learning from anybody all around you. So we're talking about real estate. I love real estate. This is how I started what I do today. I started investing into residential real estate, and then I graduated to selling all my stuff out, and then investing with somebody that I invest with. You're a real estate agent. What would you say? Because I know, and I think you were talking to me about that today, Brock. Like, what is the percentage of real estate agents that will go broke next year?
Yeah, so I was reading in Forbes, it was like 22%. This was in the month of November. 22% of all real estate agents could not afford to pay their mortgage or pay their rent. Right, so like that's nuts. So Carlos, go ahead with your question there. I think I know what you're about to ask.
So 22%. So you as a real estate agent, we know that you know your shit. We know whether you know about financial literacy, you know about coaching. You're a successful real estate investor and agent. What would you tell those people that are actually looking to go into real estate, or even becoming a real estate agent, or those real estate agents that find themselves into that 22% bracket? So they don't go, because a recession is about to happen. You either gonna become wealthy or you become broke.
Absolutely. And there's very, very few that are going to stay there in the middle, right? You're going to have a bunch of people jumping up in class. You're going to have a bunch of people moving down in class. Correct. The real estate agent world is just like the insurance world. It's just like the financial services world, right? There's a churn every 3 years. Right. So everybody that got in end of 19, early 20, when we have the huge spike and it's chaos and houses are on the market for 3 hours, right? Multiple offers, right? A bunch of those people probably didn't make it to today. If that was all they were doing, right? Hey, I'm going to list this house. It's going to be good to go. I'm not going to have to work real hard for it. Game on. If you are thinking about getting into the real estate game right now, as an agent, I would join a team of somebody that's if you've never done anything, I would join a team of somebody that's well established and dive in that way, because you're going to have the support. You're going to have a bunch of people. You're going to have mentors that are going to help you every step of the way. If you want to dive, and I oopsed my way into real estate by buying a short sale while I was in the Navy.
Wow.
Right. So we were rolling around by base, and this thing was listed at like 140.
Yeah.
Right. And it had been sitting there for a while. I was like, this is close to base. Hey, does this work? And called an agent, didn't have a clue. He's like, it's a short sale. I said, go on. He's like, it means that they're going to take less than what they owe on it, and they're going to be underwater, et cetera. I said, okay, cool. So it needed some carpet, it needed some paint, and like touch up here and there. I was like, okay, cool. So let's offer them 130. Right. Sold it, put a renter in it, sold it 4 years later for 245.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Right. So that was I was like, wait a minute, this scales. Also, vets, you can have more than one VA loan at a time. So if you don't know that, figure that out. And then I was like, wait a minute, I can do this everywhere I go. Right. If I had it to do all over again, that's not where I'm starting. I'm starting with an FHA loan, and I'm getting a 4-unit, and I'm house hacking the whole thing. Right. But I would say if you're trying to get into the investment space right now, find somebody else that's done it before. And you don't have to start with the 4-unit. You don't have to start with a single family home. You can go buy the 12 or the 16 or the 32.
Of course.
You're just going to be a partner. You're going to have to have a chunk of money. But I loved the conversation earlier on just the apprentice program, right? And why I don't know why that doesn't exist in more fields in the United States. I think kids are much better served, and I'm sure all of the Ivies and the people with the stats are going to crush me here, but I think you're much better served at 15, 16, 17, going to find somebody that's doing something you want to do, learning under them for 3 or 4 years, and then being successful into your 20s and 30s.
Hey man, and don't worry about it. I got 2 masters, almost a doctorate, and I'm not even doing anything in those fields.
Right.
So I could attest to that. I'm an educated person, and honestly, you know, and today, okay, yeah, it gets you in the door, but it won't make who you are, or it won't allow you to lead the company or even get the position that you're looking for. Right. And man, it's like real estate is one of those things. Like, okay, so residential is one of those things that's gonna come up. It's gonna be very big in the next year. But one of the things, if you want to graduate too, I mean, it's multifamily too, right? That's one of the things that I love. And I say I will never go back from multifamily to residential. But think about a recession is about to start happening. Where is going to be the most opportunity?
Correct.
In the
correct. Yeah, I think right. So I think I don't think we're going to see a wave of foreclosures like we did 07, 08. Like those are just trash loans. I think we're going to see. Correct. I think you're going to see a trickle or like a stream of foreclosures that are going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be whatever 20% of houses, 15% of houses like it was 07, 08. Right. Yeah. People have way too much equity over the course of the last 3 years in homes to have a flood of foreclosures just hit the market.
That's a good point.
Right.
But
so
you're going to be able to buy them cash if you can.
Absolutely. Right. So the ones that are out there, it's going to be a dogfight to try and get in there. Yeah. Right. So if you're looking in the investing world, I would find places that people don't know about yet and go there. Right. Everyone's like, hey, I wish I would have bought in like the Gatlinburg, Tennessees of the world 3-4 years ago. You know, check. Right. Where's the next one is the question everybody's asking themselves right now. So there are plenty of places that the Google machine will help you get to, right? But find places that a bunch of people are not looking at right now because it's the exact same there. It's just uncharted waters and there's nobody else there or very minimal competition.
That's awesome. Now, let me ask you something too. So, okay, real estate is one of those things. So you know that you cannot go wrong if you buy right.
Sure.
What other industries are there that we know that people should concentrate on? Because I understand not everybody is for, like, a lot of people love to invest in stock. I don't own a stock, nor I want to own a stock. Right. Even in crypto, this is the first year that I ever invested in crypto. All my money has been going to real estate because to me, that's the type of person that I am. I know if I could touch it, if it's real, it is a estate for me. It's a real estate. Right. So let's just say any other industries out there that you think and you know there may be a good catch for people to invest in or even learn about, because that would be something that they could definitely put the time and effort in order to surpass what's gonna happen.
Absolutely. So two different spots there. The artificial intelligence world with the chat GPTs that are going on. I think there's artificial intelligence is already smarter than you. So if we can all agree there, right? How how much can I learn about it, right? 20 years ago, like the Ubers, the Lyfts, the DoorDashes didn't exist, right? So we're going to see way more acceleration by 2030 than we have in the last 20 years. Right. So whatever you can learn on the deep learning side or the AI side, I don't need you to understand all of it, but I need you to have a clue about what it's capable of. Right. That's one. And then, so that's an industry. The other side of it is just a demographics thing where a bunch of my people that are 60 plus years old that own their own business are looking to find that next person that wants to do what they're doing.
That is true.
Right. And that is a huge, Brock, I don't have those numbers in front of me, but there's a huge turnover that's going to be happening here in the next 10 years of people that are just trying to offload businesses.
Wow.
So that's where as an apprentice or as somebody that has a little operations knowledge, you have that talk with a business owner or two. If they don't have a succession plan, hey, can I come in? Can I learn under you? And then obviously figure out how much they get paid out on the back end. But partnership there, I think, is going to be huge if people are taking advantage of it.
How would you even begin to find these types of businesses?
So it's usually like your local mom and pop plumbers, your restaurant owners. There's 2 or 3 like small business bureaus that you can be a part of, right? And they've got just lists of people in your area or in your state, right? So your small business administration should have that list, and then I would just go hyper local to your area and figure out who those people are and if they have a plan in place. Shake hands like the old-fashioned way.
That's awesome.
I like that. I never thought about that before. That's a great idea.
Yeah. So I looked into franchising a while back. But that required a chunk of capital. I didn't have the chunk of capital then, but I have enough business knowledge. I have a bunch of ops knowledge where if I went in and talked to that owner and said, hey, how can we make this work for you and me? Like there's going to be an exit plan for them, obviously, where they get paid. But even if that's just residuals, so they don't ever have to work again, that's something you can figure out.
And that is an amazing point right there, because sometimes people do business with people. This is something I learned from real estate. Sometimes people do business with you because they like you, not because the actual deal makes sense. And sometimes you are able to actually come into something like this and create a relationship. And this is something that you really want to do today. Start learning about it. Start learning about the field that you want to go into.
Right.
What is it? Doctor practices. I think that's one of those things that is actually going to start to turn over. A lot of these doctors don't know anything about business, but they know about to run a practice. And if you help them to grow the operations, this is a great opportunity for you to create a cash flow. Not only they're still going to be able to make the same amount of money that we're making, but you also going to be able to make a hefty, because now you own a practice. But that's one of the things. Learn about the industry. Whatever you really want to do, find somebody that's already done it, because people do this all the time. And like Nick was saying, the baby boomers, they're gonna start to turn over, and this happens all the time. This is a cyclist, right? A cycle that always happens when it comes down to business, when it comes down to real estate, and when it comes down to the economy. So learn today, get funded. Not only that, because you're gonna have to get funding. How do you do that? Obviously, this is something that we help you with. You need to start developing credit, either personal. I mean, yes, develop your personal credit, but you'll be able to get more lending at better terms with your business credit. Guys, this is something that we preach every single day. It's better to have it when you don't need it than to need it and not have it.
Correct.
Because the opportunity of a lifetime may come around and you don't have it. And usually the opportunity of a lifetime happens in real estate every other day, right? But if you don't have money, somebody else is going to take that opportunity away from you. So create the credit. We always hear about OPM, other people's money. But guess what? That credit card, that money from the bank is OPM, other people's money. So put it in your backpack. Don't use it. Use it when you need it, because the opportunity is going to knock around, and you will see, if you don't pay attention to us, that 10 years from now or even 5 years from now, you're going to be like, man, I should have listened. I should have done this, because I should have listened in 2008. Even though that I wasn't that savvy, I made some deals back then, but I should have listened to what everybody else was saying. But guess what? It's not gonna happen again. So you don't you be that one that actually is gonna knock themselves because they didn't get it done.
Oh yeah, those are all of your whether it's the real estate thing or your people in whatever or 15 or 16 that were like, oh, when I first looked at Bitcoin, it was $12 a pop, and I should have like, cool. You didn't though,
Yeah.
right? What are you doing? Right. What are you doing to set yourself up for 23, 24, 27, 30?
Yeah.
Right. And those happen now, right? The other reason I love real estate is if you have equity in your home and you don't have a business, you can tap into it if you need it, right? But that's also, we're also not doing that to go buy the car, everybody. We're doing that to buy the assets. And if you got nothing else out of, I'm going to do the spoiler on Rich Dad Poor Dad, like assets and liabilities, we think about all wrong, right? An asset puts money into your pocket and a liability takes money out of it.
Correct.
So if you haven't read the book, there's your spoiler for at least the first 3 chapters, right? But go read that book and figure out how you can put more money in your pocket every month, every year, right? And hopefully daily, right? Yeah. Carlos, it's really cool to get paid while you sleep, right? So waking up and seeing new money in the account, it's always fun.
Yeah. So and again, that's funny from this is from the first 3 chapters in which Robert Kiyosaki talks about, hey, I could get a $225 $225,000 on Lamborghini, but then I could have the same money, buy a building, that building buy the Lamborghini that I wanted. And that's what Nick is talking about. Have that money now, make you money while you still make money when you sleep, and buy you the toys that you want. We all want toys. We are here in this earth to have fun, to enjoy the fruits of our labor. And people talk about, oh, money is the root of all evil. No, not having money is the root of all evil. And having money allows you to be able to change the world. You really want to be happy? Make money and go help other people. Go to the forest in Brazil. Help a foundation that you really want. I mean, something that we love is like, I love to help kids with, they are on the spectrum. You know what? That's something that makes me happy. Kids. And if I have money and I'm able to help it, you know what? That's just happiness to me. And then you could be whatever you want. I mean, you could help kids, you could help animals, you could help any foundation. And that's something. And the only way that you can make change, in this world is by having money.
100%, right? Even your Gandhis and Mother Teresa's of the world, Nick, they didn't have a bunch of money. No, but their foundations did. They raised millions of dollars. I don't know if it's in the billions because I don't have those numbers in front of me, but they raised millions of dollars, right? So I've been negative in the bank account and had a ton of debt, and I've had a chunk of money in the account. I'll take a chunk of money in the account any day of the week over the in the red, no money, because you can't help yourself, you can't help your family, and who else can you help?
That's true.
Nobody.
Yeah. Right.
That's true. All right, so who's gonna win the lottery this year?
Yeah. Ooh, hey-o.
All right, man. Hey, Nick, thank you. I love that you actually were here today. Now,
absolutely.
Get in touch with you.
So it's if we're on LinkedIn, it's just Nick Mershon, obviously here. Instagram, it's real estate. Nope, Instagram, it's real Nick Mershon, and then TikTok, it's real estate with Nick. But any of those 3, reach out. I will gladly help you with whatever I can help you with. Brock, Carlos, thank you so much for the time.
Nick, thank you.
You guys have a great night.
No, I love it. And guys, if you didn't get that, we are going to put it in the bottom of this video. Make sure that you reach out to him. This guy's a wealth of knowledge, and he will definitely help you. Trust me, I speak because of experience. He knows his stuff, even though that he was in the Navy. So sorry for everybody. Well, Brock, you guys some last word, Brock?
No, guys, hey, thank you so much. Always a pleasure to be on here. And Nick, again, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come join us, man. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely, guys. Anytime. Thank you.
Until the next time, this is Carlos and Brock, and we had Nick today in business, funding, and whiskey. See you next time.
Let's go.
Thanks, guys.
I take shots, I take loss, I make shots, I miss lots. I tell you get big box, you get yachts, swing lots, and pop off a big shot. I ain't done chasing, got big dreams, bigger things, impatient. Who's at the top think they need replacement? Who's at the top think I'm gonna erase them?